What is up, everyone? Of course, you are tuned in to the Shakkas Den presented by Battleground Podcast. And surprisingly enough, I know you're used to seeing the Salt Shakers here. I know you're used to seeing my tag team partner, Dreon Santana. But today, I am joined with my other faction member, of course, none other than Tim Battle. What's going on, Mr. Legend?
I think let's be completely honest. The people are not here to see me on the show. The people are here to see the guest on the show, and that is Gia from Impact Wrestling is on the show. Yeah, they're not here to see me. You are the star of the show. I'm just here to hang out.
Mean Gia Miller.
Hi.
That's a hellified name. What's going on? Shout out to the Dollar Knockout. We'll get into that a little later. But how are you doing, Gia?
I'm doing wonderful and even better now that I'm talking to you two.
Oh, I love that. Y'all know how I feel about Gia. When I go to the shows, I'm normally the loudest for Miss Gia Miller. So we have to get into it. Now, we've seen you backstage with some of the hottest talent in Impact Wrestling, but more recently, you've transitioned to commentary with Tom Hannafin. Yes. Talk about your experience and what's been the biggest takeaway from transitioning from being in the background to now being in so many different faces for Impact Wrestling.
It has made me realize that I do indeed know how to juggle. I have to juggle a lot, but much like all of my jobs, it was just I showed up one day and they were like, "Gia, you're going to be on commentary today," and I went, "Okay, sounds good." And then I didn't think I was ever going to do it again because I thought I did a terrible job. But then the next day they were like, "Oh, just so you know, you're on commentary until we tell you you're not." I was like, okay. I was terrified, and I'm getting a little more comfortable now. I feel like if you go back and listen to all of the matches that I've called, there's a clear, like, getting a little bit better each time, which is my goal. And obviously I have an incredible anchor and leader in Tom. I mean, he is incredible and has taught me so much. But yeah, it was just kind of here you go. Let's see how you do. And I guess I did well enough.
Throw you right off into the deep end and be like, well, you got to learn to swim sooner or later. So here we go. No floaties. I mean, I kind of get that, like, because, doing radio, and I want to know about this. Do you ever go back and watch, like, past matches that you've commentated with Impact, like from that first one to, like, currently now? Because in radio, I will not go back and listen to my very first radio show because I sounded awful. And that's like a thing in radio where we don't go back and listen to our beginning stuff.
I have had to get over and it's taken me years to get over period listening to myself back because I think that I sound grating, but I guess it's okay enough. And I of course, anytime I had one come out, I would listen to it, even if I was going, ooh. But now I do feel a lot more proud of what I'm doing. And anytime I just need a little reminder of just how far I've come, I will go back and watch an early one, just as a reminder.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the fun thing is, like, when you go back in time and, like, the DeLorean and you look at, like, the older stuff, like I've got this because I'm going to transition into a TNA question here, but I go back and look to when TNA was at the fairgrounds because I was there every Wednesday. And like, here is Little Battle and Jeff Jarrett at, the TNA days at the fairgrounds with my little Spider-Man t-shirt and my wrestling book. Like, yeah, that's how far I go back with TNA.
That's incredible.
It's interesting, and the history is there with TNA, and a lot of people are very excited when Scott D'Amore so passionately said, TNA is bleeping back.
Yeah.
Kids might be watching this, so I don't want to say the dirty word.
My mama says fluffing.
I'll use that one. I should have used that one.
Back.
I mean, my grandpa always said shut the front door, but we're down in the South. So, I mean, some people might get it, some people don't.
I know a little bit about that.
But, yeah. So TNA's back. You think about the history, the lineage of TNA when it first started. Is there, like, a memorable moment for you back in the TNA eras that stands out in your mind that makes you think, this is awesome?
Oh, I mean, I know it might sound like a cop-out answer, but when Gail Kim won the first Knockouts World Championship, oh my gosh. I keep my TV on the Impact channel because Samsung has their own little Impact channel. It's just the feed all the time. That's what we keep our television on. And we always see the flashback moments, and I never get tired of watching it. Oh my gosh, her in that white, I don't even know how that gear is staying on, her little pigtails, and you can just see the emotion. And like, I really count that as a woman in wrestling, the moment that lit the fire, the moment that started it all.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And it's just, there's so much history, there's so much legacy. You're about to be a part of it. And even tonight, let's take a trip back, because we're going back to the good old days of TNA with IPWF, which is so different for us in the Impact faithful, because we get to see you guys in a different element. Tonight, a lot of people are going to get to see Gia Miller truly wrestle for the first time. So talk about your excitement and what people are going to be able to see tonight with this different character that we don't get to see too much of.
Man, another thing, just sink or swim. Like, here, when I first had my conversation with Impact about staying on board and signing my contract, I told them up front that was not off the table for me. I still wanted to try. I still wanted to get there. And at the time, I did not feel that I was ready. And I did not feel I could keep up with the current knockouts. But if that time came, I just wanted it to be on the table. And it was only a couple months after that we got to do, it was the second IPWF show, but it was my first one. And I found out I was wrestling, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then to find out that I was wrestling the Knockouts world champion at the time, Deonna Purrazzo, incredible. But it's in an environment in which it's so fun, like it's low stress. And it was my first ever television match. That it was incredible against Deonna Purrazzo, and we just get to go out and have fun. And that's exactly what it is. And like tonight, it will be Jordynne Grace, me and her, and in a mixed tag match. And oh my gosh, just getting to do anything with her is so much fun. I love her as a person, and I respect her as a performer. I look up to her. And so getting to do anything with her, and then getting to do something so fun where there's no rules. You just get to have fun, do whatever you want. It's so special.
I love that. Now you have to watch all the action. Make sure you tune in to Impact on Access TV tonight to catch out all the craziness with IPFW as well as Impact Plus. So if you're over there, you can catch it too. So, man, that's just, for me, I've gone to a show. It was the Multiverse show last year, and that was something that I didn't even know was really a thing in a sense. So I had to go back and watch some of the specials, and it's been crazy watching. You speak of Deonna Purrazzo, so I have to ask, if you were to go after those Knockout World Championships, the tag team titles, who are you gonna pick? Like, you can give me a few names because I know it's a little hard. I would say pick 3 because you never know. Someone could get injured.
Sure.
You get someone as a tag partner. The chemistry doesn't work. Y'all are feuding now. So who would you pick to go after those tag team titles?
Oh, hands down, she's my tag team partner in life, Alicia Edwards. She and I, we get things done. We are like sisters. I know we would be a unstoppable tag team, both because we are just absolutely insane.
I mean, when you think about that, like, wow. So I think, and here's the deal on this show, and you can ask anybody that's been on this show, when you speak things like that into existence, when you talk about wanting to go after a title, you come on this show with the Battleground podcast, with the Salt Shakers, and you go on to win gold. You can ask anybody that's come on this show that has not had gold, but eventually goes after the gold, they win the gold. I mean, it's happened numerous times with Impact Stars. It happened with Cardona, and he went on to win the NWA title. So you're in pretty good hands with all of us here on the show. That's, I would say, by the end of 2024, you're going to have gold.
Hey, nothing is out of the question, and I believe it with this good juju.
I love it.
That's the plan. And speaking of 2024, as we're wrapping up 2023, it's crazy to think that tomorrow's December 1st. It's wild. Heading into 2024, what are your goals and your dreams and whatnot to achieve inside of TNA? I know you're doing the commentating, but do you want to wrestle more? Like, do you want to step away from the table eventually?
I like to go with the flow. I like to go into everything with no expectations and just see where it all takes me. I would love the opportunity to get to be ringside and manage someone at some point, because I think that combines a lot of my talents into one, and I really get to shine in that area. But that is one thing I would love to get the opportunity to do. Maybe not full time, but just once, just to see what I can do.
Okay, now I have to ask: is that going to include possibly Gia Miller joining the Bullet Club and possibly with Ace? And have you thought has that crossed your mind being ringside? Because I know I've seen it. I got to see it. For those that watch her on other promotions such as PW Revolver, but having that an impact, have you thought of being ringside with Ace Austin and Chris Bay?
Oh my gosh, it would be incredible. They're my boys. I love those boys. And we have a great dynamic already. I mean, it would already make sense. But to be honest, I could be ringside for anybody that wants to win. And that is all I will say about that. Because I get things done.
Uh-oh. There's the dirt sheet headline right there. There it is. So I always like to kind of incorporate funny questions inside the show because I know everybody can ask the same questions of like, how'd you get into wrestling and blah, 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 blah. Well, if you had to choose one wrestling move to conquer the chaos of a crowded holiday store, which would you pick to secure that gift that you're there to get?
Well, I have learned this from Ace Austin is the number one thing that you need is a proper vantage point. You're not going to get anywhere staying on the ground. Mm-hmm. You got to look directly up. Look for the rafters, look for the ladders, look for whatever can get you above that crowd so you can see exactly where you want to go, and then you can dive right into it. Take everybody out along the way, grab it, roll through, and out the door.
That's a good
Solid.
one.
Now Nikki's thinking about, I might use this when I go out shopping.
Listen, because I'm thinking like we got to keep it fun because for those that don't know, me and Gia have a very, very funny story. I'm going to grab something right quick. And if you watch our show, you know that I did not just plaster this up today. This is
lying. Nikki's lying.
Oh, God. Tim, come on. We're playing show and tell. Come on. Now, there's a funny running joke. I bought this for $1 at a Impact showing, kind of would you say, at WrestleCon last year. I got this and I went on a mission to get this signed. I was sitting in my car after an Impact Wrestling Kentucky show, and Gia Miller, Gia Miller, Ace Austin, Chris Bay, who I love them too just as much. I see Gia, and she knew that I was on the mission to get this signed, and I got it signed, and this now staples Gia as being the dollar knockout. Are you gonna run with that?
I might be cheap, but I ain't free.
Listen,
I am $1. I'm the $1 knockout.
The gimmick just writes itself right there.
Oh yeah,
best buck spent.
Oh yeah,
literally.
Oh yeah,
literally. Well, Gia, it's literally been full circle. We want to thank you so much for joining the Shakkas Den, of course, presented by Battleground Podcast. So happy to have Tim here to share this moment. Before we get out of here, let everyone know where they can find you on all social media.
Oh, yeah. You can find me anywhere and everywhere at Mean Gia Miller. No spaces, no nothing involved, just all together. Or every Thursday night on Impact Wrestling.
And speaking of Impact Wrestling, a little friend of Impact Wrestling, Chris Sabin, stopped by Battleground Podcast. That interview is out now, so make sure you check that out. As for me, you can follow me on Twitter at Nikki Bougie. You can catch Tim Battle on air and also Battleground Podcast on Twitter, Battleground ILL. You know what that stands for, iHeartRadio, and you will catch us on iHeartRadio as well, wherever you stream. So make sure you check that out. Until next time, you have been tuned in to the Shakers Den, and of course, it is invite only.